Hello everyone, welcome to CSE Core Concepts in the series of object-oriented analysis and designing. So specifically talking about how to draw the UML diagrams. So before jumping into drawing the UML diagrams, this is a short video about a brief introduction about what do you mean by an object-oriented analysis. So basically, you all might have studied about, you might be knowing about the object-oriented type of a programming where we emphasize on the reusability, where we are dividing into classes and that can be used for reusability. So this has been a very popular approach nowadays in the industry also because many projects are coming and some of the most of the projects have certain features in common. So what the industry people do is that they create the libraries and the classes and the functions, and they encourage reusability. That is, they store these classes in the libraries, and so that they can be reused again and extended, or they can be changed. So organizing a software as a collection of individual parts. Okay, so it is not a complete package. It can be a combination of different parts, and each part is referred to as object. So every object will have some attributes or the data and methods or functions that operate on the data. So basically the aim of doing this object oriented approach is to emphasize on modularity, reusability and extensibility. What do you mean by object oriented analysis is when we want to first understand what of the system. Okay, so when you start with a project, okay, often students struggle that from where to start the project. So basically to start the project, we have to understand the what part of the system. That is what the system is going to do. So to understand, you have to study the problem domain, that what is the system actually about, what it is going to do, who are the users of the system that are called as the stakeholders of the system, and what are the features and functions that your software is providing. And once you are clear about what of the system, then we jump onto the designing part that focuses on how to do that system. So it refers to defining the architecture. So in order to solve a particular function or a problem, what are the components you require? What are the interfaces you require? Let's say you are creating for an organization the staff attendance system. So what components you require? Of course, the user or the employee is a part of the system, will be a part of the system. But it also includes some other devices such as a biometric device. Okay, they are the other components. Okay, then you require a computer to connect to it the data which is coming. Okay, so that you can read the data. So you require some interfaces, right? So how are you going to perform? So what is that you are telling that I want to create an attendance management system. Now, how are you going to create what you require? That is the designing of the system. So it focuses on how to translate these requirements which are listed in the analysis part into a constructive software. So object-oriented analysis and design is basically a software engineering methodology, but it employs the object-oriented principles. So what are the four pillars of object-oriented approach? The first is encapsulation. So what is encapsulation? When you bind all the data, attributes, that is methods and functions to operate in a single unit that is called as a class. Abstraction. It involves hiding the complex details and just you are showing the essential features to the user. Inheritance. So a class is a parent class. It will help other classes, that is child class. So child class will inherit from the parent. So this property enhances the reusability and it shows the hierarchical structure, and comes the polymorphism. So it is that how objects of different classes to be treated, and that is how it can take shape of other forms. So to perform this type of analysis, basically is a unified modeling language. Actually, while this was being created, there were many researchers. They had their own method of depicting it. So standardization was required, that which will be accepted all over. So for that, all the researchers sat together and they generated this unified modeling language. It helps to express the model using a notation. So these notations are governed by, there are a set of rules. You cannot simply use your own notations. So there are rules such as syntax rules, semantic rules, and pragmatic rules. Okay, now UML diagram is not like that. Okay, once a diagram has been created and it will be going years. It is expanding. Okay, so initially when it was launched, there were around 5 or 6 diagrams. So right now there are around 14 diagrams, right? So it is something which is evolutionary. As and when the software industry is modifying, new types of softwares are created, new types of requirements are generated, the UML model language is also extended. Okay, so semantic rules define that what does each symbol mean. So there is a specific symbol for each, showing each of the features. Okay, and pragmatic defines what are the intentions of the symbol, how you can make it understandable for others. So let us see the diagrams. There are basically, the UML diagrams are basically classified into two parts. That is, some show the behavior of the system. So they are called as the behavioral diagrams, and some diagrams show the structures of the system. So they are the structural diagrams, right? So behavior structural means a class diagram. So it will show you that what are the different classes used in this software, how these classes are related to each other, right? So class diagram, composite structure diagram, component diagram. Component diagram relates to the extra devices or external components which you require. Like you may require some files, some biometric devices, some sensors, some web cameras. So that shows the component diagram. Deployment diagram, package, profile, and object diagram. So these diagrams comes under the structure diagram. And behavioral diagrams are those which show the behavior, like how the system is performing, what are the functions of the system, what is the input to that function, what is the output to that function. So that shows the behavioral diagram. So that comes activity diagram, interaction diagram, that is how two functions are interacting with each other, state machine diagram, and use case diagram. So in my upcoming videos, we will try to cover up all these diagrams one by one so that you are very much clear about the UML diagrams. Now for your projects and other purposes, if you want to draw the UML diagrams, these are some of the popular tools which are being used. Okay, so that you can use this type of tools to draw the UML diagrams very easily. So stay tuned for my next video, where I am going to start with the very basic and very mostly used diagram, behavioral diagram, that is the use case diagram. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to CSE Core Concepts. Thank you.